Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Country Then and Now. I'm Casey Gibbs. We are joined this week by everybody's buddy, Buddy Jewell. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Casey. Thanks for having me on, brother.
You bet. Glad to have you. 20 years since the release of Sweet Southern Comfort. It does not seem like it's been 20 years.
I tell you, it really does, man. Gosh, that was, the second single off my first Sony Columbia release. And the time usually just flown by. It's been incredible. I've had a great time. God's been so good to me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just released a new version of that with Clint Black and the Bellamy Brothers, and I just went blank.
Marty Raven from
Shenandoah. Yeah, there you go.
At least I didn't go blank.
Right. Yeah. How did all that come about with getting them involved with this?
Well, late, because we were celebrating the 20-year anniversary. We've been 2003, so 2023, late 2022 or whatever. We decided we were going to do a remake for the 20-year anniversary, and so Clint. For those who remember watching the TV show Nashville Star, that I won the first season. I was blessed to win that. Mm-hmm. And Clint was our mentor on the show. He was going to produce whoever won. He was going to do their first record. And so Clint and I got to be friends. He did a hell of a job on the record. And he was my first call. I said, you're one of the reasons this song was a hit in the first place. So I really want you on it the second time around. And he was Clint. He's a great guy. Said, man, whatever I can do, sing, play, you let me know. And then Marty and I've known each other for a long time, but I wouldn't say we're friends, we're acquaintances. And but my bass player and producer Mitchell Brown had introduced me to Donnie Allen, who's played banjo for Shenandoah for God knows how many years. Mm-hmm. And those two got together and got Marty involved. And then the Bellamy's was kind of a fluke thing. I'd run into them at CMA shows and things like that in the past, but never really spent any time with them. But I had opened for them just a couple of months before we decided to do this project. And I thought, what the heck? They had me come up on their bus, and I kept trying to lead, and they kept talking to me. I just thought I was taking too much time up, So if there's such great guys, I thought, well, all they can do is say no. And man, they said yes. So I was really excited to get all four of those guys on the record with me.
And that's out right now on all streaming platforms.
Oh yeah. It went number one on Cashbox and all that good stuff. There's a video. Yeah. Very proud of it.
Well, let's go ahead and play that version of it. This is the 20th anniversary edition of Sweet Southern Comfort, Buddy Jewell and Friends on Country Then and Now.
Misty sunrise in my hometown, rolls of cotton about knee high. Mrs. Baker down the dirt road, still got clothes out on the line. Erwin Nichols there with Judge Lee, playing checkers at the gin. When I dream about the Southland, this is where it all begins. From Carolina down to Georgia, smell the jasmine and magnolia. Sleepy sweet home, Alabama, roll tide roll. Muddy water, Mississippi, blessed Graceland whispers to me. Carry on, sweet Southern comfort, carry on. Catching catfish on the river, chasing fireflies by the creek. Kissing Gary Williams' sister on the porch homecoming week. With rusty cars and weeping willows, keeping watch out in the yard. Just a snapshot of down home Dixie, could be anywhere you are. In Carolina or in Georgia, open arms are waiting eyes, she'd hear I'm surrounded by these priceless memories. I don't have to think about it. There's no place I'd rather be than Carolina or in Georgia. Smell the jasmine and magnolia. Sleepy sweet home, Alabama. Roll tide, roll. Muddy water, Mississippi. Blessed Graceland whispers to me. Carry on, sweet southern comfort. Carry on, sweet southern comfort. Carry on.
Sweet Southern Comfort, the 20th anniversary edition. Buddy Jewell, Clint Black, Bellamy Brothers, and Marty Rabin. So that turned out really well.
I'm really proud of it, man. My band played on the record. In fact, my oldest son, Buddy the Third, plays drums for me on the road, and I was really tickled to get him on the recording. And the background singers, that was Mitchell Brown, my producer, and his sister Tammy singing harmonies on it. So it was kind of like a Willie Nelson thing. We got the whole family involved.
Right. Buddy Jewell and family. So
yes.
Yeah. The current album you got out right now has been out about what, 3 or 4 years? Bluebonnet Highway.
Yeah, I should have named it the COVID tapes because nobody got to hear it. It came out in 2020, But yeah, it came out in 2020, and we're still, got people that are loving the music off of that. It's essentially a bluegrass record.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of, I covered a lot of standards from other country singers making those bluegrass. We did a remake of "Help Pour Out the Rain," Lacey's song, and "Sweet Southern Comfort" on that record, and just had a great time with it.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a little bit different sound than what people are used to from you.
Yeah,
with bluegrass Americana.
It's fun, I tell people I am not a bluegrass musician. I ain't trying to be one, but I love bluegrass music, and it was great to get to do a project like that. So I wasn't trying to take up anybody's slot on the bluegrass charts, but I'm very proud of the record.
Yeah, it turned out really well, and I guess we got 3 versions now of Sweet Southern Comfort. The original, the one on Bluebonnet Highway, and the 20th anniversary. So, yeah. The Teardrops in the Gulf of Mexico. Tell me about that song and how it came to find you.
Well, Jerry Salley, who's back in the day, back in the 90s, I was a studio singer, a demo singer here in Nashville, way before Nashville Star came along. And I worked for a lot of great songwriters back then. Jerry Salley was one of them. And now he's the head of Billy Blue Records. That record label was Bluegrass. I can't remember the name of the Americana. But Jerry and I have known each other for a long time. And I wanted to sit down and write with him. He's written a ton of great songs, and so I had the idea of I had this thing, some kind of river thing going on in my mind, and I thought, man, what could be more lonesome than a teardrop in the Gulf of Mexico? And so I pitched that to Jerry, and we wrote the song. So that's how it came about.
Okay. And that album's been pretty well received by a lot of people. And Teardrops actually did pretty good on the bluegrass chart for you.
It did. I was pleasantly surprised to see it do. I think it landed at its highest position was 20, and then the album itself was 19 on the Americana chart. So I call that successful.
I was going to say that's pretty good for somebody that doesn't consider himself being a bluegrass artist or having a foray into bluegrass.
Yeah. I loved it, man. Mitchell is very well known in the bluegrass circles, and he brought all of the players together. It was crazy how we cut the record because it literally was in 2020 when all of the COVID stuff was going on. And I remember all of us coming to the studio wearing gloves and masks and spraying Lysol all over the place. And it was a crazy time, but man, we got it done.
Yeah, you and everybody else. I don't know how anybody recorded in COVID other than home studios, but
well, and that's what this was. And we even shut that down for a couple of weeks just to make sure. So, but we all came through it unscathed. Praise God.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and play Teardrops in the Gulf of Mexico real quick, and then we'll get in some other stuff on the other side of this.
Spending my last dollar in the quarter, drinking down my broken dreams. Tonight the pain of losing her is showing on my cheeks, flowing like the Mississippi, rolling to the sea. Hurt runs deep and words are cheap, but you can't buy them back. So if I had a rich man's money, I'd still be busted flat. There's a lesson in her leaving, but till I find a way to let her go, I'll be lonesome and lost as a teardrop in the Gulf of Mexico. I didn't say every angry word if I could just turn back the hands of time and unbreak that broken heart of hers, never push her across that leaving line. But tomorrow she'll be gone, ain't nothing I can do. She's taking everything she owns, so my heart's going too. Hurt runs deep and words are cheap, but you can't buy them back. So if I had a rich man's money, I'd still be busted flat. There's a lesson in her leaving, but till I find a way to let her go, I'll be lonesome and lost as a teardrop in the Gulf of Mexico. Deep and words are cheap, but you can't buy them back. So if I had a rich man's money, I'd still be busted flat. There's a lesson in her leaving, but till I find a way to let her go, I'll be lonesome and lost as a teardrop in the Gulf of Mexico. I'm lonesome and lost as a teardrop in the Gulf of Mexico.
Teardrop in the Gulf of Mexico, Buddy Jewell on Country Then and Now. That's I like that. I mean, you say you're not really a bluegrass artist, but that turned out really well for somebody that doesn't really consider himself bluegrass.
Well, I give all the credit to Mitchell Brown. He got all these great players on it and did a heck of a job producing the record. So I'm proud that Jerry and I wrote a great song, I think. And
and Jerry's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. Fantastic fellow.
Yeah. So growing up, before I get to that, what possessed you to do a bluegrass sounding album? Was there something growing up with influences like Bill Monroe that you heard that possessed you to do that, or was this just kind of something off the cuff?
Well, I've always been a huge fan of acoustic instruments like that, dobro, mandolin and fiddle and everything else. So that part of me had always loved, music like that. Being very honest with you about how the album came about, there's a fellow named Ernie Evans, who's a big bluegrass promoter down in Florida, and he and Mitchell Brown are really good friends. And every Tuesday night during the week, I do a 30-minute Facebook Live called Tuesdays Tune at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And in that broadcast, I'll do classic country stuff, Ed Bruce, Don Williams, Johnny Horton, Marty Robbins, who, you name it. And so Ernie and Mitchell were watching it. And I can't remember the Ed Bruce songs, a couple of Ed Bruce songs on the record. I think it's My First Taste of Texas or something like that. And Ernie got in touch with Mitchell and said, we ought to talk to him about doing a bluegrass album. I think that would go over really well. And that's how it came to be.
Gotcha. Well, it turned out really well. The other reason I was asking about influences, because several years ago you recorded the old Charlie Rich song Behind Closed Doors on your cover album.
Yes.
So that's why I wanted to segue with that. Who were some of your influences growing up musically?
Well, growing up, of course, when I was a kid, Mom and Daddy had one of the little RCA record players. For those of you too young to know what a 33 1/3 or an LP is, it's a record, but it's about as big around as a medium pizza. Mm-hmm. It looks like a huge CD maybe. And so I would sit on and stack Daddy's records on that thing and just listen to them over and over and over. So I consequently became a huge fan of 60s country, especially. And Mom and Daddy grew up in a little town just west of where I grew up in Arkansas called Dice, Arkansas, and that's the hometown of Johnny Cash. Mm-hmm. And so, and the Jewels and the Cashes, there's a little bitty town, and so they all knew each other and interacted and all that good stuff. And so I was a big Johnny Cash fan as well. And so all that kind of lent itself to it. And then what really got me thinking about playing country music is that when I was in college, Arkansas State University, I was in this little beer joint in Truman, Arkansas, and I was too young to be in there, but how it is in college, you get in somehow. Right. And it was a little concrete block building that had a jukebox, a pool table, and a bar, and all you could buy was beer in there, canned beer. And Old Flame by Alabama came on, and it just stopped me in my tracks, man. The harmonies especially, and I went, oh my gosh, who is that? And one of my roommates actually had their first album, and man, so we started playing that thing nonstop, and I fell in love with country music all over again. That's what really got me zeroed in on playing country music for a living.
And the rest is history.
We hope so.
I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. What possessed you to, how did Nashville Star come into the fold? I mean, I guess you were already playing local bars, and when that kind of became a opportunity, audition and went on to win the whole shebang.
Yeah, it was, I'd already been in Nashville for 10 years. And as I said before, I was doing studio work as a demo singer. When I first moved to Nashville, I knew a couple, I wound up getting to know some artists, and they gave me some really good advice. They said, don't go play downtown. Don't go play on Broadway in Second, because if all the record label people wander in and out there from time to time, and they'll just think you're just another bar singer, mm-hmm. and won't give you the time of day. And so I found some places in the outlying areas away from downtown Nashville to play. And then, and I worked a multitude of part-time jobs, like in the morning, so I could concentrate on music at night and songwriting in the afternoons and stuff. And, but a friend of mine from church, Richard Johnson, came to me and told me about this TV show that they were looking for contestants. And I don't know if they were calling it National Star then. He just said it's like American Idol, but it's for country, singer songwriters. And being very honest, I had participated in several of these type shows in the past. I'd actually been on Ed McMahon's Star Search and was male vocals champion for 3 shows and all that good stuff. Nothing came from it. And I was just kind of over, these talent competitions. And Richard kept bugging me. Every Sunday I'd see him, he would bug me about it. And so I finally just shut him up. I said, okay, I'll go do it. And praise God I did, because I wouldn't be here talking to you if I hadn't.
Right. What a lot of people probably don't remember was that you won first season, but somebody else that went on to become a huge artist in country came in third.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might have tried too hard,
I think you did.
Yeah, Miranda Lambert was on the show, and she actually came in third. Another Texas artist named John Arthur Martinez actually came in second. Mm-hmm. And man, her career's done. I'm really, really proud of her. I'm so happy for her and glad she's been able to do what she's doing. And I'm envious. I wish I had that bigger career, but I'm exactly where God wants me to be.
Right.
So I'm content with that.
Well, I mean, doing some research last night because I watched it back in the day, but I forgot a lot of the people that were on it. I had forgot that Chris Young came off of that show too.
Yeah, and as a side note, if you watch the original Sweet Southern Comfort video, Chris is in the video.
Really?
Yeah, I had nothing to do with that. I'd known Chris beforehand. His mom used to bring him out to hear me play, and so when they were casting parts for the video, somehow he got hired to be the guy kissing the girl on the front porch in the video. That's Chris Young.
Oh, okay. Little things I never knew. So
that's right. And yeah, I don't think he tells anybody that. I don't know why, but that's him.
Well, good deal. Well, we were talking about Behind Closed Doors a while ago with Charlie Rich. And that was on the
My Father's Country.
My Father's Country album. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and that was a cover album of a lot of songs that you just, I guess, grew up playing in bars.
Well, and some of them, the main point behind that record is because of my dad's love for country music and his influence over me. I lost him back in 2006, and I always wanted to do a tribute album to Daddy. And so my friends at Lamont Records came to me and asked me about doing a cover record like that, and I jumped at the chance. And I thank Dave Moody and his bunch over there for doing that for me. But I decided on 10 songs I knew my daddy really, really, really loved. And so that's why it's called My Father's Country. And so Behind Closed Doors was one of them.
Well, let's go ahead and play it. This is Buddy Jewell, Behind Closed Doors on Country Then and Now.
My baby makes me proud. Lord, don't she make me proud. She never makes a scene by hanging all over me in a crowd. 'Cause people like to talk. Lord, don't they love to talk. But when they turn out the lights, I know she'll be leaving with me. And when we get behind closed doors, then she lets her hair hang down, and she makes me glad that I'm a man. Oh, no one knows what goes on behind closed doors. me smile. Lord, don't she make me smile. She's never far away or too tired to say, I want you. She's always a lady, just like a lady should be. But when they turn out the lights, she's still a baby to me. 'Cause when we get behind closed doors, then she lets her hair hang down, and she makes me glad that I'm a man. Oh, no one knows what goes on behind closed doors. Behind closed doors.
Behind Closed Doors, Buddy Jewell on Country Then and Now. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about before we get to the last couple of songs in the show, I know you are a real big supporter of a lot of philanthropy. One of the things you're big on is the Minnie Pearl Cancer Foundation.
Yeah, I was blessed there for, gosh, I can't remember how many years to be a spokesman for the Minnie Pearl Cancer Foundation, and very honored to have that title and be able to help out however I could, just by lending what little bit of fame I had to get people more aware of cancer awareness and trying to find treatments and cures for it. So that's one of the things I got to work with.
And not just that, but I mean, you've done a lot of work for St. Jude. You've been on some overseas tours for our troops. I mean, it's endless for what you've done over the years. And
well, I'm sorry. First of all, thank you for mentioning all that. I've been very blessed, and like I said earlier, and I say all the time, God is so good to me. He really, it's just, I'm amazed at how good he's been to me, Casey. And I just always felt like that he put me in this position, to obviously make people aware of his existence, but also to do my best to try to help people that are not as fortunate as I am. The St. Jude connection really started with a cousin of mine, Michael Hale, who was a patient there for a long time. When he was born, they didn't think he'd live to be 2 years old. And because of God and the folks there at St. Jude's, we were able to keep Michael with us for 15 years. And I just, I always had in the back of my mind that if I ever had the opportunity to help out in any way with St. Jude, that I was going to make that one of my major focuses. And we've been able to do that.
That's awesome. When did he pass?
Oh my goodness. Back at, let me think here, 1980, I think it's 1980. Okay. Yeah, 80.
Okay. I read in your bio too that you have done, I don't know if you still are, ministering to some inmates at a local facility.
Yeah, there are a couple of places I've been able to minister to at jails, and a jail and a prison. There's a prison in my hometown, Osceola, Arkansas, houses about 300 inmates. They had me come there every September. In fact, I just got back from there a few weeks ago. I just tell my story, which is not a pretty one, and try to give these guys some hope, that they can turn their lives around and walk out of there a different man than the one that walked in. And I've got a song called "When I'm Good and Gone" that I wrote about my dad. Leslie Satcher and I wrote about my dad right before he passed away. And I used that song as kind of a lead in to talking to them about, do you want your family and your loved ones to remember you like this in those jumpsuits, or you want them to, remember you when you're gone as someone that was able to turn their life around and make a positive difference in their community and in their family. And it's a blessing to get to share that. And I'm proud to go do it. And hey, if there's anybody else out there that's needs somebody to come and speak it through jail or prison or whatever, get in touch with me through my website, and we'd love to talk to you about coming and doing that.
There you go. We hit on Sweet Southern Comfort at the top of the show, but before that was a little song that kind of got the career started right after Nashville Star, Help Pour Out the Rain, Lacey's song. Talk a little bit about how that came to be.
Well, honestly, Casey, that was a God thing. It's literally a true story. Lacey was about 3 years old, roughly, and I was taking her to in-home daycare. At that time in our lives, my wife was a nail specialist that does all these sculptured nails that the gals like to wear, and she was really good at it, had a huge clientele. I was playing music throughout the week, doing demos, and so we were able to spend a lot of time at home with the kids, which was a blessing. But anyway, Lacey in this drive out to home daycare one day, in a conversation, asked me, she said, well, if I go to heaven, will God let me help pour out the rain? And the dad in me immediately thought, wow, that is really sweet. And, out of the mouths of babes, talking about. But the songwriter in me, it didn't hit until a few months later. And I couldn't go to sleep one night. It was probably 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And for some reason, that moment came back to me. And I started, thinking about, that situation, and God just kind of put this melody in my head. And I had learned from not doing in the past, you got to get up and write then, or you'll forget it, if you think you'll remember it the next morning. And praise God, I got up and wrote the song. And I bounced it around Nashville. No one wanted to sign me to a publishing deal. Nobody wanted to cut it. At one point, a real critical time in the TV show when I was auditioning, I wasn't even on the show yet. Trace Atkins actually had put the song on hold, which meant that he intended to record it. Unfortunately for me, because in the rules for the show is if you were a songwriter, you couldn't play anything on the show that had been recorded and released, or that was going to be recorded and released. And so I couldn't sing the song in the preliminaries coming up to making the show. And literally the night that I won the Nashville city competition, and a few days before that, I got a call from his people, and they said, he's dropped the song, he's going to do this other song. And so I was able to sing that the night of the finals for the Nashville city competition. And then when I sang it on the TV show, it was crazy. Nashville Star was like, it was kind of a mix of American Idol, Survivor, and Big Brother. And they had all the contestants sequestered in this big house down the Music Road, so we couldn't go home for folks who lived nearby. But my wife called me that night after I sang the song on the show, and she told me, she said, this crazy response has happened. We're getting tens of thousands of messages and emails, so much so that it kept shutting our website down. We had so much traffic. And after I heard that, I thought, wow, man, I know if I win this show, this is the song I'm going to put out as my first single. And it flew up the charts. And I still to this day get letters and emails of people walking up to me at shows and saying how much that song means to them or meant to them. And just amazing how God has kind of used that in the healing process for a lot of families, especially those who've lost children. And I never envisioned that kind of connection with it, but I'm thankful to be a little part of trying to make their lives a little easier.
God does work in mysterious ways.
Yeah, he does.
This is Help Pour Out the Rain on Country Then and Now.
The moment was custom made to order. I was riding with my daughter on our way back from Monroe. And like children do, she started playing 20 questions, but I never would have guessed one could touch me to my soul. She said, Daddy, when we get to heaven, can I taste the Milky Way? Are we going there to visit, or are we going there to stay? Am I going to see my grandpa? Can I have a pair of wings? And do you think that God could use another angel to help pour out the rain? Well, I won't lie, I pulled that car right over, and I sat there on the shoulder trying to dry my misty eyes. And I whispered, Lord, I want to thank you for my children, 'cause your innocence that fills them often takes me by surprise. Like Daddy, when we get to heaven, can I taste the Milky Way? Are we going there to visit, or are we going there to stay? Am I going to see my grandpa? Can I have a pair of wings? And do you think that God could use another angel to help pour out the rain? Well, I thought about it later on, and a smile came to my face. And when I tucked her into bed, I got down on my knees and prayed. Lord, when I get to heaven, can I taste the Milky Way? I don't want to come to visit, 'cause I'm coming home to stay. And I can't wait to see my family and meet Jesus face to face. And do you think, Lord, you could use another angel to help pour out the rain? Can I help pour out the rain? Can I help pour out the rain? La da 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 dee 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 dee.
Help Pour Out the Rain, Lacey's song, Buddy Jewell on Country Then and Now. And that has got to be the signature song that people know you for.
Yeah, I never get tired of hearing that one.
Yeah. That's the one you got to do every night at the end of the show, no matter what.
Yeah, sweet Southern comfort in that. They won't pay me if I don't do both those.
Pretty much, yeah. I think after that we need to lighten the load a little bit. Talk about Diesel Destiny.
Well, I that was the demo I did. There's a great songwriter named Jim Rushing, and oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember the other gentleman that wrote it with him. His face is coming to my mind, and I can't. And forgive me,
Oh, you're fine.
Jeff Prince. It was a demo I did for those guys, and I always loved the song, and it's hard to sing. You're not going to find, and not bragging on me, but you can't find a whole lot of singers that can pull that one off. And so,
Right.
For years after I had done it for him, nobody would cut it. and I got a chance to put it on an EP that I did, and so that's how the song came about. And my dad was he was a truck driver, so there again, Daddy had influence there too. Yeah,
I was going to ask if anybody in the family was truck driver, if that was kind of the catalyst for doing this.
Yeah, well, and I drove a beer truck in Little Rock for about 6 months, so I was a truck driver, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to be driving a truck in Little Rock these days.
And I, if you're spending time around Little Rock right now, I was in some of the more questionable parts of town delivering beer. But God bless, praise God, I made it out of there safe.
Yeah, from what I've heard, the whole town of Little Rock is questionable these days, kind of like Memphis. But I hadn't been there in years, so I wouldn't know.
I spend a little bit of time there, here and there. I've got friends in Hot Springs that I see from time to time. In fact, I've got family that lives nearby Little Rock, but I haven't spent a whole bunch of time in Little Rock proper here in a while.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and play Diesel Destiny.
All right.
And this is Buddy Jewell on Country Then and Now.
Well, Billy started pushing diesels somewhere in his 2s or 3s. That little yellow Tonka dump truck was always under his mama's feet. His daddy drove an 18-wheeler from Macon to Omaha, and every night around Billy's bedtime, he'd be waiting on his daddy's call. Even at a tender age, you could plainly see he had a diesel destiny. Yeah. While his friends were out playing baseball, he was breaking carburetors down. He could rebuild the Cummins engine by the time high school rolled around. You should have seen the look on his girlfriend's face, standing there with her mom, when he pulled up in his daddy's Peterbilt to pick her up for the senior prom. In the grease on his tuxedo, she could see he had a diesel destiny. Shifting gears with the whining of his cat, midnight diner with the chewing of the fat. He'll see every nook and cranny, from Boise to Miami, redlining it from sea to shining sea. He's got a diesel destiny. Oh, jamming gears. When Billy's friends went off to college, Billy went to work for his dad. Together they soon went from a one-truck fleet to 20 and nothing flat. Billy sits in the VP office with that little Tonka truck on his shelf. And if one of his drivers calls in sick, he'll take the run out and sell. Out there on the highway where he can breathe, he's got a diesel destiny. Shifting gears with the whining of his cat, midnight diner with the chewing of the fat. He'll see every nook and cranny, from Boise to Miami, redlining it from sea to shining sea. He's got a diesel destiny. Redlining it from sea to shining sea. He's got a diesel destiny. Yeah, yeah.
Diesel Destiny, Buddy Jewell on Country Then and Now. Buddy, I appreciate you doing this. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey, man, I really have had a great time, Casey. Thank you so much for taking so much time with me. I can't say thank you enough.
You bet. Do you have anything coming up that you want to talk about or can talk about that people can start looking for?
Well, let's see. I told you about the Facebook thing, Tuesday's Tune. If you folks want to find out about me, about my tour schedule stuff, that's at my my website, buddydjewell.com. Just be sure to put 2 L's,
Mhm.
on Jewel. And man, I'm touring all over the world. I'll be I'm at part of the Josie Awards at the Opry House here in a couple of weeks.
I was going to
And
say that's coming up.
yeah, the 27th, Sunday 27th. Really excited about that. My son Buddy's going to sing with me on the show. And
Oh, really?
yeah. And then we've got dates lined up in Switzerland and Germany in the early part of next year, and just looking forward to a great 2025, God willing.
Well, see, I told Bev the other day when I was talking to her to plan this, I said, we should have done this last week because you were in Fort Worth last week and I didn't even know it.
Yeah, sure was, man.
Yeah, we could have done this in person, but oh well, hindsight's 2020. So
I guess so.
next time. So
You bet.
yeah. So all socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is all Buddy Jewell.
Yeah, Buddy Jewell Facebook, at Buddy Jewell on Instagram. I've got YouTube, X. I always want to say Twitter, and there are a lot of fakes out there, so be very careful about which Buddy Jewell you click on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate you. Thank you much.
All right, Casey. God bless you, man.
God bless. We'll see y'all next week. Take care. Love one another. God bless.